brew.
Whew. That's a stretch.
Is playing a Grixis Eldrazi.
Versus Jund.
Played by
Period.
Kyle Palmer. I don't know exactly what kind of Jund list he's on. There's a couple of them floating around the store.
There are.
There's like your straight up classic Jund.
Which is not well positioned right now.
There's the Grim Flayer Jund.
Which is a little bit better positioned right now.
But still not well positioned.
Correct.
When is Jund the best positioned?
So Jund is the best positioned deck when the format is very linear and predictable.
All right. Well, this is part of being able to predict what's going on. We've got a Thoughtseize on turn 1 from Kyle.
2 lands and Spellskite, Thought Knot Seer, Double Reality Smasher, Blight Herder. You gotta think that Kyle's gonna take the Spellskite here.
Right. As a lot of other cards in the Jund deck just kill these
He's got
Eldrazi.
multiple Terminates in hand, which is pretty much the only way that this Jund deck can deal with the Eldrazi menace.
Yep. Makes the smart play.
I like that, but at the same time, you can make a strong argument for taking the Thought Knot Seer to protect your double Terminate hand.
Sure, I think you just have to leave the Terminate
Triple
up
Terminate hand. I
when
stand
you,
corrected. So the triple Terminate in the main is definitely where you want to be to battle these Eldrazi.
Sure.
That's one of the reasons why Eldrazi is pretty good against Jund. Is a lot of Jund lists will run a split of Terminate and Abrupt Decay.
Uh-huh.
And Abrupt
And
Decay
they're just
doesn't
too big
do anything.
for Abrupt Decay.
Bolt the Bob.
And bolt the... In order of things to bolt, it's like Bird, Bob.
Trying to think of another one with a B, but it's just not there.
Betty Boop.
I don't think you want to bolt Betty Boop.
Trigger on the stack, terminate the guy.
You just let him see it.
You don't say.
Let's see what you got.
Here's where Belf's going to get his advantage. Every card in his hand's a 2-for-1. So he terminates one and takes a terminate. So he literally got 2. I don't care what else. Kyle Palmer could draw a Guru Mountain, and I wouldn't be impressed as I was with 3 terminates in hand.
Sure.
Here comes with Scourge.
I don't know if you read that Scourge
Correctly.
I don't think it's where you want to be. I think you just take the 3 and then you
Right.
a 4th Terminate. How many
Wow.
Terminates is this kid playing?
I mean, I don't know when the terminates are going to terminate. Becomes the target of spell ability opponent controls, exile it, and then you can recast it. So this thing is durable. We are looking at just how durable it is right now. Do you have to light one of these terminates on fire for the spell skate? Well, Kyle thinks so.
I'm not crazy about it, but that's a good draw for this.
Yep. That's the correct choice there. This is one of the few situations where Kyle gets to go 1-for-1 with Reality Smasher.
Absolutely.
Every other way he has to kill it is going to require the second card in his hand. I wonder if he held back like a forest or something.
I believe it's a Blood Crypt.
A Blood Crypt or something of that nature. Sure. Yep.
So the old 4 Terminate hand is a pretty good one against the Eldrazi Menace.
And it's still not good enough. Belf's way ahead here. Oh gosh, it just got worse.
Smasher.
Reality Smasher. Off the top. Oh gosh, and had a thought knot in it. I can't. Oh yeah, that's not where you want to be.
So you need something to commit to the board.
Interesting.
So 4/4 Grimflayer is pretty solid here.
Do you trade it for the card off the Thought Knot?
Probably. If he offers.
I think the right thing to do is just get your Reality Smasher in, though. Yep. Belf has read this one correctly. These Eldrazi are a powerful bunch.
Yeah, they have a
I mean, this
pack a
is
punch for sure.
this isn't the classic Eldrazi deck, and it has given Belf the business. I would have attacked with the Grimflayer here.
No, you definitely don't want to attack with the Grimflayer. You're just dead on the swing back then. If he has any like removal spell or
Right. Yeah, normally these Eldrazi come in a Bant package where you get Path to Exile, and very solid sideboard choices,
in Ancient Stirrings.
and Ancient Stirrings, which helps find both sides of the quote-unquote combo, both the land or just one of the Eldrazi spells.
Very good draws from both players for the matchup. Kyle really wanted to have a Liliana there in addition to the Terminates.
Oh, that would have really tied the room together.
That would have very much tied the room together. I don't know if he's playing them. He seems to be playing like 4 Terminates is aggressive. Normally the most you see is 3.
Mm-hmm.
He's playing both Dark Confidant and Grimflayer. Usually it's one or the other.
Sure.
Yeah, I didn't have a threat. He killed my Bob. If my Bob stayed alive, I might have won.
Your Bob's never going to stay alive, kid. Get used to it.
Nope. They're there to be a lightning rod.
Yeah, Tarmogoyf would have been very good for him.
Sure. I can't even hypothesize what a sideboard for this Grixis Eldrazi deck would look like.
So it's probably got some amount of targeted discard, which you don't want here.
Right.
Yeah, I just don't know. I didn't see a single colored spell from him.
Uh-huh.
Did we see any of them? I don't think we did. He had a bolt for the Bob.
Right.
So he saw what the red was for.
That's about it. Bolt to Bob.
The old bolt the Bob. Blue cards that are traditionally very good against the Jund strategy, though, are like Ancestral Visions, but you don't want that.
No. How do you feel about a Drowner of Hope? I mean, it's a big thing. Finishes off.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay, but it's not like you have any problems in this matchup finishing them off.
Right. All your guys are bigger. Yeah, I guess I could imagine, some sort of targeted removal spell, maybe more Terminates from the Grixis deck.
Potentially, I think you just like really want to be as consistent as possible with your threats.
If the Jund deck has any Fulminator Mages or Crumbling... What's the new one?
Crumble to Dust.
Crumble to Dust?
So I think those
Those
cards
are very good against the Eldrazi decks.
I think it's kind of a trap. So if they have the good hand, they can Thought Knot sear you.
Uh-huh.
The same time you can Fulminator Mage them.
Sure.
Which isn't great.
But you're on the play here.
Right. So the issue is that you need to have a clock for any of that disruption to matter.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not like Tron where they just can't cast their spells if you get a Tron piece.
Mm-hmm.
They'll eventually be able to start casting their spells off of just like Sulphur Springs and
Right, whatever
Shivan
randoms.
Reefs.
But I told him lands or spells. He chose the spells. So I Armageddon him and still lost.
The other card that's given me fits when I've played the Eldrazi deck is Kalitas.
Yeah, Kalitas is very strong in pretty much every creature matchup.
I think I would.
Well, a lot of the Eldrazi triggers are Dies triggers. And so
Okay.
you get to,
I don't think he's playing. I don't think Belfie's playing with any of the.
Mana reshapers.
Yeah, so that might not be as big of an issue. He might be. We didn't see much of his deck.
Sure.
Just the double Thought Not Seer, triple Reality Smasher, which is pretty insane.
Yeah.
You can expect Kyle to bring in like a Damnation probably.
Oh yeah, a nice damnation.
If he's got him. I mean, right now a lot of these Jund decks are hedging against the graveyard decks by running Anger.
Yeah, I am not up on the Jund technology.
It's constantly evolving.
It's one of the nice things about that deck is that you can build it in response to the proposed metagame.
Right. That's the reason why it's not great in this metagame, because like you have the very linear aggro decks, which is traditionally good against. So like Infect,
Affinity.
like you can build a Jund deck that is like 90% against Affinity if you really wanted to.
Right.
But you also have like these Eldrazi that are pulling you into a different direction, and then you've got like these Dredge decks that are pulling you in a completely different direction, and it's just very hard to prepare for everything, and you have to do that as a Jund player.
Right.
Free Smasher beats 4 turn. I agree.
It was a big part of it was the 3 Smashers, the 2 Thought Knots, and the 2 whatever the card is.
Eternal Scourge.
No, the thing that you can redirect spells to it. Spellskite.
Right. Yeah, I don't think Kyle played the Eternal Scourge against the Eternal Scourge very well.
Correct.
Kind of leaving that guy in play is just fine.
Yeah, I mean, 3 damage a turn definitely adds up, and it puts you in reality special range very quickly, but bolting it is definitely not a great proposal. Inquisition's rough. I'm not a big fan of Inquisition staying in this deck.
I don't know. It puts his only threat into the bad zone.
The bad zone.
The bad zone.
So it's fine here because he has targets for it, but you can very easily Inquisition Belf with like 4 cards in hand, and you can't hit anything.
Absolutely.
Depending on Kyle's hand here, hitting the Scourge might not be great anyway. Like if you have a Goyf, then that Scourge isn't going to do anything but sit there.
Right. Block your Goyf. One time, I guess. Alright.
This Relic's going to be rough if he does have the Goyf as well. Oh, he kept a 1-lander on 7? Oh, boy.
I can't advocate that.
I don't think anybody can.
Belf has yielded a Thought Not Seer from the draw step, and Kyle has not yielded anything.
There's only been one time that I kept a 1-lander and was happy with it. It was when I was playing Living End.
Oh, sure.
Like, you can just get by on it on that deck.
Right.
But,
Keep one-landers all the time with Affinity.
oh, sure.
It's no big deal. But with a Jund deck here, where you really have to, you need action
Yeah,
all the time.
Like, you're running a lot of lands because you want to draw a lot of lands.
Yeah, you want to get to like 5 or 6 lands
Every game.
every single game. You got this. Here comes Thought Not Seer to deal with your.
Yeah, just Slaughter Pact in response.
I think the take here is Terminate. So the bonus here is that Kyle won't have to discard if he were to draw a non-land.
Sure.
Yeah, so you see he was at 7, and then Belfi took one, and he went to 7 cards again on the draw step.
How lucky. So if you're Kyle and you draw land this turn,
Okay.
on your next turn, if you don't draw land, do you slaughter pack the Thought-Knot Seer?
No.
Okay.
No.
No.
I mean, okay, so what, you play 26 lands in this deck?
25.
25, so I'd have
Traditionally.
2 in play. I have 23 left. I'm 10 cards into my deck at least. 7. I'm 11 cards into my deck, so there's 49 cards left.
Oh, he's slaughter packing.
So I'm 50.
Hey, your pack trigger, sir.
Oh no.
All right, we've committed
Alright.
suicide.
All right,
My point is
you're halfway.
One land.
So you think
But the only card I can play
You
is
think-
the relic.
by flipping a coin on whether or not you'll live,
Discard this relic. in my
you
hand. I can't do
you
it.
gain.
I had 2 lands.
you have a better chance of winning than just throwing your 2/2 Grim Flares in front of it.
Okay.
Just never got
Because once you start doing that, it's just
Better on the draw.
completely over. But either way,
Here's the other thing. This is very indicative of modern.
I have
You
2.
can't not mulligan.
you have to mulligan.
6 in a scry is very close to 7,
And it's very powerful.
and it's very powerful. Every card in modern matters so much.
Yeah, and being able
So-
to see
Yeah.
If you're at
13
home,
cards instead of 7 is also very strong.
right? If you're at home and you're learning to play modern, when in doubt, mulligan. If you need to draw